All right, we're on our fourth lesson as we walk through the Red Sea rules. Today is lesson 4, and it just says pray. That's the rule today, is pray. Last week we talked about be more concerned with God's glory rather than your relief. We at Exodus 14 and 10 now. Let me read it for your hearing. When Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. And my question is, have you ever been in a situation where it was just no known human solution, and you could do nothing but pray? That's where they were. They were trapped. Pharaoh's army was behind them. The Red Sea was before them. And they were trapped. Last week in verse 8 and 9, they said, did you bring us out here so that we could be buried in the wilderness, because it must not have been no graves where they were. They were just panicked. They were saying a whole bunch of crazy things. And that's what happened to us, right? When we feel trapped. And we're in here dealing with this thing called addiction, whether you're the family member or you the client. You feel trapped and powerless. That's what powerlessness is, isn't it? Where you just don't have any power to overcome the situation. Family members feel powerless. They feel like, you know what? Ain't nothing else I can do. I done tried everything that I can to help my loved one get clean, and I can't. And so I just got to turn them over to God. Those of us that's in recovery, we say the same thing, that we done tried all kinds of things. In the NA text, and while we're here, it says we done tried hospitals, we done tried religion, we done tried all kinds of things to try and stop. What we hadn't tried was the program of recovery. Or we haven't tried God in a real way. Now, we done prayed that old panic prayer, that dopamine prayer, where we go to bargaining, as we talked about last week, is, Lord, if you get me out of this, I will this. But we know we lying, and God know we lying. What we really want is relief from the situation. We don't really want to change. We just want relief, right? So number one, sometimes we have two options: panic and pray. Panic and pray. And what they done was panic. And it was in a situation where, if they say it was over 1 million Egyptians behind them in the Red Sea in front of them. So that's a panic situation, right? Because I'm going to die. Near-death situations make you panic. But they not only panicked, they prayed. And for the first time, they prayed for real. Next week we'll look at what Moses done when God said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. But right now they just trapped. Listen to what Matthew Henry says. He said, their fear set them a praying, and that was a good effect of it. God brings us into stress that he may bring us to our knees. See, God allows situations to come into our lives so that he can drive us to that point where there is nothing else we can do but depend on him. He orchestrates that or allows that to put us in certain situations because he knows that that's the only way he can get us into that situation of reliance on him. We think that being reliant on God is a bad thing, right? Because what we truly want is to be independent. They say it's 3 different areas of that. We want to leave dependence. Nobody likes to be dependent upon nobody, right? We think it is, I want to be independent. But independence means I don't need nobody, right? God don't want us to be there. He wants us to be interdependent. That we be interdependent upon him. Independence, I don't need nobody. You know how we do? When we get everything, get ourselves together, we let everybody know, I don't need you. And we quick to do that, right? And we go to stiff-arming people. Like the Heisman Trophy runner. Get back, I don't need you. Ain't that what we do? I don't need the program. I don't need you. I don't need nobody. And it don't take very much success to get us to that point, right? So God don't want us to be independent. He wants us to be interdependent. Because he created us, and I carry on, as relational beings. Our first and foremost relationship, he wants is us to have a relationship with him. But he wants us to have a relationship with others. He didn't create Eve just so that Adam would have a wife or that he could procreate. He created her so that he would have relationship with someone. He said that the Bible says that it wasn't good for man to be alone. We take that as I need a woman or I need a man. No, we need fellowship with others because we can't stay clean by ourselves. We need other people. You can't be holy by yourself. I always tell people, when I am by myself, I am perfect. I am. Because I only see the fault in others. And I do everything right when I'm by myself. Because ain't nobody hold me accountable. And I rationalize and justify everything. It ain't until I come in contact with other human beings that I can see me more clearly. So I need y'all. And y'all need me. And we need one another. So you want us to be interdependent. You know, we can't carry this burden called life by ourselves. We see it real clear with people who try to work out. You know, people say they're trying to work out. They say, you know, I need a spotter. I need somebody else. Do you think that the people like LeBron James and those kind of people, that they don't know how to work out? But they got training teams. Why? It's not that they need somebody to teach them how to lift the weight. They need somebody to hold them accountable and cheer them on and motivate them. That's what the fellowship and the other people around us do. You see what I'm saying? That's what we need. Because we by ourselves, I don't see no fault in me. It's just when I get around you humans that I get to see me. Right? You ever be by yourself and rationalize and justify, and then you get with somebody else and they go saying, you know, man, you might have been wrong about that. And then you say, well, you know what? Maybe. But when you was with your itty bitty committee in your head, you were right. I'm always right when I'm by myself. Y'all too, right? Check out what it says in the High and Wide book on page 105. It says they knew very well the strength and rage of the enemy and their own weakness. Numerous indeed they were, but all on foot, unarmed, undisciplined, and disquieted by long servitude. And what that means is, y'all, check this out. And which was worst of all, now pinned up by the situation of their camp, so they could not make their escape. What it's saying here is, y'all, we done had this long period of servitude where we have lost our fight. Last week we talked about learned helplessness. And when people have been in that situation for a long time, they stop fighting. They say the way that they train elephants when they're small is that they put a chain around their leg and a stake. And so they learn that they can only go so far. They say after a while, they can just tie a string around this several-ton animal and he won't break it. soon as he get to a point where he feels a little bit of resistance, he stops. And that's what has happened to us in this thing called recovery. That's why we can't stay clean, because every time we get to a certain point and we get a little bit of resistance, we go back. That we have trained ourselves that the little bit of resistance, we self-destruct. Because we've been so used to this servitude. That's what they call, indentured servitude, slavery. After a while, back 200 years ago, it would be several hundred slaves. One or two people in charge. Now, they could have got away, right? They could have overtook them, but they had got them mentally in the state of servitude. That's the way our addiction and the enemy has gotten us. We ain't really trapped. We just psychologically trapped to say, I need to get high, or I can't do this, or I don't know if I can make it, because we fail so many times. It's in our head that we're going to fail. That's why we believe that in Romans 12, where it just says, be ye transformed, in Corinthians 12, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We got to change the way we think. We don't live our way into right thinking. We think our way into right living. You see what I'm saying? My first thing that has to change is my thinking. That's what's most important, because that's where I am enslaved. I'm enslaved in my thinking. Y'all agree with that? Got it? Because that's what it is. I came here, I was telling one of the young brothers today, I came here at 28 years old. And because I had failed so many times, I didn't think I could stay clean. That's why I relapsed 5 times. And I finally got to the point where I said, I can stay clean. I believe the Word of God. I believe the literature. And I came to treatment believing this time that I could do this. But as long as I came saying, I don't know, it's going to be hard, I can't, I didn't. It wasn't until I said, I can stay clean because I'm going to apply these tools, and God says I can. I stopped using, and I stand here today with 25 years clean. It wasn't no might and if, it was I can. And that's where we got to get it. It said for us, the characteristic of our disease and the things we did in active addiction separate us from a higher power. It is our sin that separates us from God. It is the guilt and shame of our past that separates us from God. We see that in Genesis 2, because the first thing that Adam and Eve done when they sinned was hid. Right? And that's what we do. We go to lying, we go to justifying, and we go to hiding from others when we sin. And even when we are with people, we feel maladjusted. We feel that we don't fit in. Even with the people in our family who love us. We can be right in the midst of them and feel all alone. Feel indifferent. And the crazy part is, I experienced this for me. The more my family tried to help me and the more they tried to love me, the worse I felt. So they were hurting me. They didn't know it. They were just loving me. Let me help you do this. Let me give you this. I felt worse. Because that made me feel unworthy. That made me feel less than. It only reminded me of my failure. And so family members don't know what to do. Should I help? Should I not help? They don't know which way to go with it. Because it's us. And that's why the fellowship is important. Because for the first time, those of us that are in recovery and we get around other people that's in recovery, where we realize that, you know what, I'm not alone. There are some people who think like me. There are some people who are like me. because I thought I was the only one that felt that way. But when I came into the fellowship, I found out that, you know what? It's some other people that feel that way too. In the Message translation, in Ephesians 6 and 18, it says, what they done was they prayed hard and they prayed long. They prayed hard, they prayed long. On the inside of your paper here, it says, other times our prayers are short. See, sometimes you don't have a long time to get one of those long prayers out. Check this out. It says, when irritable or hot-tempered, pray thy sweetness, Lord. When meeting with someone you don't like, pray thy love, Lord. When in a crisis, pray thy help, Lord, or thy wisdom, Lord. We all do that from time to time. You know, I know when I'm in a situation, sometimes I just say, Lord, help. And I ain't got time. You know, I be right in the midst of the situation. I'm saying, Lord, I'm going to need you on this right here. Give me some peace before I go off. You know, help me, give me wisdom, because I don't have time. What we have to learn how to do is learn how to regroup in the midst of a situation. I had a brother earlier, you know, he's no longer here, and we're in a meeting, we trying to decide his fate, and he's like, well, can I get a break? No, brother, you got to make a decision right here. We can't always escape, you know, and go somewhere and pray. You know, you're in a meeting with your boss, and you talking, and it's a heated situation. You can't call time out in the middle of the meeting and say, excuse me, I need 15. I need to go outside and come back. No, we don't get to escape. We got to learn how to regroup in the situation. We got to learn how to pray in the midst of a conversation, because life don't always give you the opportunity to escape. You see what I'm saying? And so we got to learn how to pray in the moment. And sometimes we got to learn how to pray quick. That's what this was saying. Number two, their cries was urgent, united, unfringed, but unbelieving. Unbelieving. See, they didn't believe. They were in that situation and they thought they were going to die. But they still prayed though. We do that, right? You done prayed and been in a situation you're like, you know what? I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm still going to pray, and I'm still going to keep doing what's in front of me to be done, because this situation seems hopeless. And it's all right to admit the facts of the situation. You see what I'm saying? I remember the first time that I went to someone who was in the hospital and they were dying. And the family asked me to pray, and I was like, Lord, you know, let your will be done in the situation.
That's right.
You know, I didn't know. But there's a whole lot of hopeless situations, but we can still pray.
That's right.
Urgently and unitedly. And what they done was they got together and prayed. See, sometimes you need some help. You got to pray with somebody.
That's right.
And you got to be honest in your prayers and say, you know what? I don't see no relief in this.
That's right.
When I prayed for sobriety in the beginning, I didn't really believe it. But I still prayed. I prayed for y'all as clients. Now, a lot of times, I don't think you're going to make it. That don't stop me from praying. You see what I'm saying? And so we have to learn how to do that. Even when we don't believe. That makes sense? That seems kind of tough, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Mr. Bussey, what
Yes.
was that? Urgent, united, and what?
Unfriends. UNFIGNED. You ain't got it up there?
It's not clear.
Oh, okay. All right. But unbelieving. But unbelieving. Sorry about that on the PowerPoint. Exodus 14. I lost me. And 10 through 11. They said to Moses, it is because there is no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness. But have you done this to us to bring us out of Egypt? What they were saying, like I said earlier, they were just saying, you done brought us out here. They had got so used to, we said this in week 1, they had got so used to being a slave
Yeah.
that it was more difficult for them being free. The unknown is what's tough.
Yeah.
See, we get caught up in known suffering. And God has created us in a way that we adapt. And sometimes that's good, but a lot of times that's bad.
That's right.
We adapt to this low living. We adapt to situations.
Yeah.
Family members adapt too.
Yeah.
And what happens is family members stop having expectations of us.
That's right.
And that's the worst thing, family members, that y'all can do.
Yeah.
Is to stop expecting us to perform the task that's ours to perform.
That's right.
You call that enabling. So we find ourselves doing things for them that they should be doing for themselves because you just so used to doing it or you don't think they can do it.
Yeah.
And so y'all let us stay at home and we grown people. And y'all don't make us get out and be on our own.
That's
Y'all take us places and do things for us
That's right.
that we should be doing for ourselves.
Yeah.
And what happens is y'all enslave us.
My mind.
It's like taking a wild animal and raising them in a domestic environment and then putting them in the wild, you know they can't survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they had those big lawsuits and stuff with the whale Shamu, they said, you know what, we gonna stop having them in the place. But you know what they said? We gotta keep him here until he dies because we can't put him back in the ocean.
That's right.
Because he don't know how to eat.
That's right.
He don't know how to defend himself.
That's right.
So they just letting him sit down there in San Antonio till he died.
There you go. Yeah.
Because, you know, it would be inhumane, they say, to put him in the ocean. That's what happens to us.
Wow.
That's why we be 30 and 40 and 50
Yeah.
living at home.
Living at home.
And your mom and dad and wife and husband or the zookeeper saying, you know, we can't put him back out there,
Yeah.
he can't survive.
Yeah. 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 That's right. That's
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't, because we haven't learned how to do that. That's why this program progresses. And month 1, you're dependent and you're just in the learning stage. But by month 4, you should be ready
Yeah.
to go out and catch that bus and get a job and,
Yeah.
and handle your business.
Yeah.
Not set up in here and saying, I don't know what to do. No. Monday morning, you got to go
There you go. Yeah.
and figure it out because
Yeah.
you've grown
Yeah.
and learn. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, I'm an only child. Let me say this. And my mother spoiled me. And I thought that was so wonderful.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I could manipulate her.
Yeah.
But what she done is handicap me.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn the necessarily coping skills. So I learned how to be a man at 28, 29 years old.
Yeah.
The same things that I should have been learning at 14, 15, 16 years old, I learned at 30. And them hard lessons to learn at 30.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
And sometimes I still relapse into that.
Oh,
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I be sitting there, you know, I be expecting my wife to perform motherly duties.
Oh my. Oh my.
And anybody else who I can manipulate to do it for me.
Yeah.
You know, she went out of town, you know, she said, well, I'm gonna go. I'm like, what do we eat?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know, she was supposed to cook a big old pot of food and all of that stuff because
Wow.
how am I gonna eat
Yeah. How am I gonna eat?
for 2 days? Now I got a car, I got some money,
Yeah.
but the first thought was,
Yeah.
how am I gonna eat?
Yeah.
sister got on in her car and
Yeah.
went on by her business.
Yeah.
Well, shucks.
And had the nerves enough to say, I'll figure it out because I'm wrong. I don't know, is it a wife, child protected custody, something y'all can have her locked up for that? She can't be locked up for that? But she left me there with nothing to eat.
Yeah.
She can't go to jail or nothing?
Figured it out. She's a grown man.
I'm a grown man.
Wow. You figured it out. You got you some grits this morning.
I know it. And I'm gonna give me a plate to go home with too. Now my beg, and see, she would have cooked, I wouldn't have been out on the streets begging. She left me out here to beg.
And you good at it.
But guess what? I'm not the only one in this room
That's right.
that don't know how to make it. Or know how to make it, but look for others to do the things that we should be doing for ourselves.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because we've been handicapped by life.
Oh my.
Just like us, we feel trapped. The Israelites had two questions. Why have you allowed this to happen to me? Was question one. And what have you done to me? Boy, we are victims, ain't we?
Yeah.
That's what they were. They would say, why have you allowed this? Have you gotten yourself in a situation and say, now why, we blame somebody else for our situation, even when they're trying to help us? Or, why have you done this to me? Boy, we love that one.
Yeah.
What they taught me in recovery was, it wasn't even important how I got the disease of addiction.
Right.
It don't matter what my situation, my home life was, none of that stuff. It don't matter.
Don't matter.
What's important is that there is a solution. So I don't need to be a 20-something, 30-something, 40, 50, 60 that we have in here still blaming people for stuff that happened when I was 10.
Yeah.
At some point, I got to get over it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that stuff happened. Yes, it may have been tragic, but you know what? Now you're 50.
Yeah.
Let's move on with the process.
Yeah.
There is a solution.
Yeah.
You know, and what helped me was there was nobody else to blame.
Nobody.
And y'all gonna have to understand that, guess what? Until you grow up
My.
and mature and learn that, you know what? It don't even matter what happened in your past.
That's right.
I'm not saying get over it. You're going to have to deal with it, whatever that is, counseling, whatever it is that you need, but you got to move on.
Yeah.
Because I can't keep blaming people that's 40 years ago for my situation. Because it's about, and there is a solution.
Yeah.
In closing, it said, when we face impossible odds, pray urgently, unfriendly, unitedly, and trust the great prayer answering God who grants mercy and imparts grace to help in time of need. And we're gonna have to do that, y'all. Just like they had to pray, you have to pray.
Yeah.
But keep moving as you pray.
As you pray.
The Bible says, watch, fight,
Yeah.
and pray.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. See, we think prayer is a humble, in a corner thing. No, sometimes you gotta pray with your eyes open.
Yeah.
I'm taking the guys and the women through the Lord's Prayer, not the model prayer, John chapter 15. And in 17, in the first few verses of John chapter 17, the Bible says that God lifted his eyes up toward heaven, which was a different posture than the one we were taught to bow heads and humble down. Said no. At the end of his life, he stood up and looked toward heaven and prayed. See, sometimes, y'all, we gotta pray with our eyes open.
That's right.
And we gotta fight.
Gotta fight.
In this thing called addiction, you gonna have to fight. Family members gonna have to fight.
Yes, sir.
And the fight, the first fight is on the inside of you.
Right.
fighting those ingrained habits and tendencies that you have.
Oh my.
Mama, the first fight is, oh, I got to take care of him. That's the fight that you're going to have to fight, is to say, you know what? I'm going to have to let him do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to figure out what can he do
Yeah.
that he should be doing, and what things should I help him to do that's not hurtful and handicapping to him.
Yeah.
And that takes wisdom. And that takes prayer to say, okay, well, he needs some clothes. Let me bring